All right. It's Sunday morning. Took last Sunday off just because I didn't feel like it. But here we are for, you know, hanging out, seeing what's going on. Ah, shit. There we go. I had my other tab open so I could hear myself, which is surprisingly unpleasant. Okay, and then there we go. So you guys don't have to listen to the Mass Effect sound effects. So, anyway, I've pretty much spent the last weekend getting caught up on books, uh, you know, finishing Hunter x Hunter. I'm in the final arc now. Yeah, I said first chat is call me a boomer. Not wrong though. To be fair, fucking asshole. But yeah, so it's kind of a dead time for media. I mean, I guess if you care about the Oscars, like maybe you give a shit. But does anyone care about that shit anymore? I saw some I think it's trans woman, male to female, is up for like best actress. So the men could sweep best actor and actress, which would always be amusing. Is that shit tonight? I actually don't even know. Those awards are so fucking irrelevant and just so much self-filleting that it's kind of unbelievable that they even get the audience that they do. You know, I kind of get, or I can at least understand, back in the day, you didn't really ever see celebrities. So, it's a big deal to see them and they're outside of character. They all came across as normal a long time ago, or at least, somewhat relatable, right? Yeah, I said circle jerks, exactly. Somewhat relatable. I mean, obviously, they're all still millionaires and, famous and the paparazzi and all that shit that comes with it. But now it's just like, oh, every single day, if you care about that stuff, one of those fucking jackasses is on Twitter, calling people Nazis or just generally saying crazy things. They and they just seem like fucking assholes. It's kind of the same thing that's happened to athletes where, like you used to not really see them outside of post-game interviews, but now it's just like, fuck these people. So, yeah, I didn't even mean to start the fucking stream talking about that stuff. I just can't imagine anyone giving a shit about that. Like all the millionaires sucking each other off, knowing that they look down on you and fucking hate you. Screw them. Anyway, so the Star Wars Acolyte people, I don't even know what to say about them. They're the most dedicated fan base to a bunch of fucking losers that I've ever fucking seen. I mean, seriously, like that show was watched by relatively no one and got canceled immediately. One of the only Disney things to officially be canceled. And these people were signing petitions, putting up fucking billboards, We're still getting dumbass articles coming out. Like, get over it. I would wager that any person who's ever watched TV has watched a show that they liked get canceled. Like, that's just part of it. So I don't understand what these fucking people's problem is. That they just refuse to get over it. And then, obviously to the point where they're continually lying, right? Like, if you pay attention at all to what they're doing, where they say that The Acolyte was the second most watched show on Disney Plus this year. The most watched show was Percy Jackson with like 3 billion minutes watched. And that's what they do too, right? They put it in minutes watched, so it sounds like some kind of astronomical number. As if no one on the internet is going to do math and be fucking autistic about it. And like, I think Disney Plus didn't even hardly release any shows this year, partially due to the writer's strike, and then partially because they were making so much bad shit, they had to cut back on what they were putting out. Like last year, they announced that they were going to cut down to one Star Wars Disney show per year. One per year. And they were cranking those fucking things out. So, obviously, when they're reducing their fucking load like that, the only conclusion is it's not bringing in viewers. And it's costing them a lot more money than it should. Like, if you think about it, it's kind of crazy that a movie like Dune 2, I think the budget was like $180 million. And yeah, it's a movie, so there's less time and blah, blah, blah. But the visuals in that movie are crazy. And will probably hold up, maybe forever, right? Meanwhile, The Acolyte spent $230 million. Nope. Sorry about that. At least $230 million, right? They always lie about it. So it could easily have been more than that. The total runtime was about 5 hours. So, twice as long as Dune, which was 2.5 hours. And half that season's in a fucking jungle. Like, a little bit is in a Jedi temple, a little bit's in a bar. Like, where the fuck is the money going? The accountants at Disney must just be pulling their fucking hair out. Wondering, like, what the hell is happening? Like, why does everything that we make cost a ridiculous fucking amount? And it doesn't even look like it. So that's just the big stuff, right? That doesn't even get into, how bad it is, how it's trending down. And I just can't believe. I guess I can because, they're getting paid for it. But I just can't believe there's people that are so shameless that they're just willing to, like, put this bullshit out for Disney. And, like, they know it's bullshit, right? They're not. Well, they are stupid, but they're not completely retarded. Like, they know that what they're doing is ridiculous. And they just fucking do it anyway. I don't know. I just couldn't imagine sitting down and being like, okay, I know this show performed horribly. How can I just spin it and pretend otherwise? I just wonder, by the time you get to the top of a field like that, is there anyone who's honest? Surely not, right? Like, anybody who refuses to play along probably just gets thrown by the wayside. So presumably, anybody who's decent at their job, who's honest, just gets told to shut the fuck up. It's just crazy and just kind of a bummer. Hey, what's up, Nukima? Yeah, he says just a bunch of number obsessed Luciferians. They know what sells, quote unquote. So it must not be about money. All the garbage is mental conditioning. I think the damage has been done. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the other part of it, right? Is if they care more about the message that they're getting across than money, then it makes sense. I mean, because it either has to be that, or the more, soulless corporate mindset might just be we think this is what makes money, and whether or not we believe it is beside the point. So I could see either one. I could see it being full of zealots, and I could also see just the corporate, we're trying to appeal to the masses and we don't really care. So my guess, and this is purely just guessing, I have no idea, is that the people at the very top are the money people. They don't give a shit about any of these causes or anything like that. They just think, okay, this is what's popular, let's do it. And then I think as you go down, that is where the people who are just true believers are operating. Because, I mean, you can see the actresses and creatives on TV or in interviews like touting all these lines. And they seem to believe it to some degree. Of course, if you wanted to blame the corporation thing the whole way down, you could say they're just trying to appease what they think is the audience when it's not. Either way, I mean, they've not appealed to the majority in any recent memory. So hopefully there'll be a course correction soon, but I don't see it happening. And the Acolyte, I think, was just the embodiment of all of it. What's up, Water Enjoyer? He says he's on his way to Austin to represent his college to speak to the reps. Well, good luck with that. That sounds like a lot more serious than playing Mass Effect and bitching about Star Wars. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Newcomb says that the cult uses indentured servitude for sure. And that's the thing, too, right? Like, I don't want to fucking get way off into politics, but, when you see these corporations have been taken over by the true believers in HR and, at every fucking level for jobs that aren't particularly well paying, what other conclusion is there, right? I mean, besides the fact that they must just believe it. So, yeah, I mean, what's up? Yeah, we're just talking about, why did I just got fucking stuck? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, the fucking game glitched on me. Well, that's fucking annoying. Well, shit. I'm just talking about how there's this article about the Acolyte came out, and people were still pretending like it was a really successful show because they framed it as number 2 on Disney Plus this year for minutes watched, as if that doesn't make it anything more than the second smartest retard. I mean, because that's what it really is. It's an indictment on Disney Plus as a streaming platform. I go through the numbers in my video that I put up this week, and I actually forgot to mention, I'm annoyed because I had the tab open and I just got distracted by ranting, was if you actually give them the 8 or 9 million viewers, which I still think it's probably about half that, maybe 2/3, which puts it on the level of Halo Season 2, just so we're clear. Their streaming service right now has like 150 million subscribers or something, 160 million subscribers. So out of their entire platform, about 5% watched The Acolyte. And these are all with the most charitable numbers and speculation. I think it's probably less. My guess is you probably had more like double that tune into the first episode. And then by episode 3 or whatever, we're like, fuck this. And then just stopped watching. So I'm just talking about how these Acolyte fans are coping so hard. And it's so weird to me that like this is the show that these people are defending when it's just a horrendous show that no one fucking liked. Hardly anyone watched it. And it cost a shitload of money. So it's just crazy to me. Like this shit got canceled, I think 6 months ago at this point. I mean, it got canceled almost as soon as it finished airing because the Leslie Headland and the creators of The Acolyte were trying to come out and be like, oh yeah, we're definitely writing the next script and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like we're getting ready for season 2 and we have so much that we want to do and whatever. To the point where Disney had to come out and be like, no, the shit's dead. There will be no more. So I was just talking about it because I've just never seen a canceled show with so few followers just still be talked about. Like obviously there's been a couple canceled shows that got talked about because they developed a following after they were canceled. No one's following the fucking Acolyte. And you know, I'm thinking of shows like Firefly, Family Guy, right? Family Guy ended up being huge on Adult Swim to the point where Fox was like, well shit, like we made a mistake. And now it's still been going for whatever season they're in now that I'm not fucking watching. Season 20 or whatever. You know, you had Arrested Development, which had 3 seasons but didn't really gain traction until later. So I get that shows pick up a following after they go off air sometimes. The Acolyte ain't it. I mean, it just was just a terrible fucking show. Like, there's not really that much to say about it at this point. And I think I did a video for each episode. I can't remember if I did a full season video or not. It was just dog shit. And the fact that these mainstream publications are willing to have articles go out talking about this shit still and defending it is fucking crazy. I mean, especially if you're someone who watches anime, it's almost a certainty that there's shows that you wish would get a season 2 or 3 or whatever that fucking don't get it. I mean, No Game, No Life, people have been bitching about it seems like for a decade. And, you know, meanwhile, Rent a Girlfriend is getting season fucking 4. Like, I mean, it just happens. So, I just... It's just weird at some point. Like, you liked it. It wasn't popular. Just fucking let it go. I mean, if you like it that much, you know, go keep rewatching the Manny Jacinto scene where he's naked, because I assume that's the appeal for half the people saying that they like this shit. Damn, I need to take some Allegra. And, you know, I talk about this pretty frequently, so I'm not going to go into it again here, but just seeing people defending Star Wars and doing the whole, like, you know, what do we need for Star Wars to be back? I think that everyone should just accept that for a while it's not coming back. I mean, what are the things that we have in the, you know, in the oven right now? The fucking Mando and Grogu movie, which I didn't even really like season 1 and 2 that much. It doesn't seem like most people even like season 3. Like, even for the hardcore people who liked season 1 and 2, you know, a lot. We have possibly the Rey movie, which is on like its 4th or 5th writer now. Still not in production. Got announced 2 years ago at Star Wars Celebration. We've got Andor season 2, which somehow 2 seasons of that show is costing $700 million fucking dollars. Yeah, I mean it's just. Oh, we got Ahsoka season 2, which season 1 was a retarded slog. Like it's just fucking done. I mean, the book sales are in the fucking toilet for all the new stuff. I touched on that a bit in the video because, you know, the brand is just fucked right now. And of course, it could come back and get popular again, and maybe they could make some decent stuff. But it seems like even the stuff that they like that goes over well, they probably just screw up later. Like Andor didn't have a huge following, but people have, it's grown on people over time. And season 2, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we start to resort to cameos and Darth Vader shows up and the whole, like now that they're like, oh, it's successful, we got to get involved. And if they, fuck the whole process up, or fuck the whole story up and get involved with the creatives when they shouldn't be, because they think what sells is just jangling keys and nostalgia. And to some degree, they're right, but that also doesn't last for forever. Well, for most people, you obviously have the people that get excited because they see a red lightsaber, or Hayden Christensen just gets cast in the show, and that's enough to call it genius. I guess I wonder if the stream's lagging. God damn it! Fucking internet's been dog shit. Oh well. Fucking whatever. So yeah, it just kind of is what it is at this point. I'm not really even mad about it. I just can't believe that there's people still going out of their way to defend the shit. I find that crazy. Other than that, I've been watching Hunter x Hunter. That's it's been a really good show. Tyler kind of caught me at a lucky time where I I was in between anime seasons, had a bunch of time off work. Because 150 episodes for a show is a lot. And I actually have gotten through it in about 6 weeks. Probably finish up tonight, maybe tomorrow. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have a couple issues, but nothing really major. But from what I've seen online, people do not like the character shift from Gon to Kurapika, which is how it sounds like it ends. I've only got a handful of episodes left, so I've already seen that Gon, loses his Nen and all that. But yeah, but I think it makes a lot of really good choices and a lot of pretty ballsy choices that I feel like most shows won't commit to. And I kind of wonder how much it inspired Jujutsu Kaisen. Just with the whole dynamic of Gon and I don't know if my stream cut out there. Just with the whole dynamic of Gon and him not being the strongest in his own story. Oh, let me check on my phone if the fucking stream's even working. God damn it. Okay, so It looks like it's working. Whatever. Fuck it. Can't stop now anyway. So the whole dynamic of Gon not being the strongest, I think it's something that's been picked up by obviously like Jujutsu Kaisen. I just had another one. Oh, Mushoku Tensei. These shows where your protagonist is just kind of a person in the world, but not the strongest person in the world. And I think it makes for a good story a lot of times because, I think it makes it easier to stay away from the whole self-insert thing that they sometimes slip into, or, you run into the problem of power scaling and that sort of thing. Or you end up having to do stuff to justify why they need friends and helpers and other people in their party. Hey, what's up, Jay? Jay says anime is that the Oriental animation? I didn't realize you kept it old school in your lingo too. I respect it though. The commitment. But yeah, I can definitely see why, it's a classic and why people like it as much as they do. Somebody in the comments said that they think that the Chimera Ant arc is the best arc of any anime. Which, I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, it was really good though. 60 episodes is a massive arc. So I can see why people would pick that one. I would have to think about it because I guess I don't tend to view stuff as arcs, even though obviously every show has them. Damn it. Like for me, one of my favorite stretches of any anime is the second half of season 3 for Attack on Titan, which is just fucking awesome. And there's a lot of people who bitch about the show saying it fell off after that and whatever. I don't really think it did, but that part was definitely, I mean, it was just great. Like all the payoffs and reveals and build-ups. You have a show that's willing to just fucking kill everybody. It's just so good. Let's see. What was I fucking talking about that I just got completely distracted? Oh, Hunter x Hunter. So yeah, like I thought Meruem was a really good antagonist. I thought it was really interesting that they kind of made him still the strongest, but his worldview like kind of fucked him. Because like, I mean, hopefully you've seen the show if you're here, but he does beat the chairman, who is the strongest Nen user seemingly, and even then, the thing that beats him is just old school weaponry. Like he just dies because he gets radiation poisoning, which again is a pretty, I would say, pretty ballsy move, because I could see a lot of people feeling like it was anticlimactic or a cop out or whatever. And then, when you do that, you also don't get to see Gon. You don't get to see Gon. Like your main character doesn't fight the strongest villain. I mean, obviously Pito is really strong, but she's not the king, right? So I thought those were all like pretty risky decisions, but everything is well, really well executed. So who cares, right? And that's kind of what matters at the end of the day. But yeah, it's been a really good show. Definitely one I've had people tell me to watch for a while that I just kept putting off because 150 episodes just feels like so much. If you're in college or whatever, maybe even if you're single, you can just go home and watch TV every night and not really give a shit. But, when you're working, you got shit going on and have other stuff to balance. It's hard to sit down and just, crank out fucking 40, 50 hours of anime or whatever it ends up being. It's probably closer to 50, actually. But yeah, so I don't know how I feel about the ending. Because I still have a few episodes left. But Gon's dad, I mean, I think he's like the worst dad in a show that I've ever seen portrayed in a positive light. Like, obviously, there's plenty of stuff with, deadbeat dads and abusive and whatever, right? Like, pieces of shit. I mean, even in My Hero Academia, you have Endeavor, who goes on his own redemption arc. But I don't think I've ever seen a show that portrays a guy as good. Who is just a piece of shit the way that he has been. iStat says Gun's thing with P2 was he didn't like the ants, but his anger was only at her. No, I know. But I just meant like in general for shonen stuff, your character ends up fighting the main villain, right? Or the strongest villain or whatever. So to have your villain not fight your main character, I mean, it's an interesting choice that most shows just don't make. I mean, especially with, the trend in isekai stuff and all the overpowered MCs and all that horse shit. Although, of course, I mentioned Attack on Titan, and I guess Levi is the strongest in that one, so there's definitely shows willing to do it. It just doesn't feel like that many, that's all. Wow, James just got fucking wrecked. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the manga does afterward, but I know that there's only been like 70 chapters in 15 years or something since it finished, right? Like from the part that the anime finished off at. And I would imagine, I don't know how old the guy is. He must be like 60s by now because it's a pretty old series. I mean, old enough to get an anime in the 90s or whatever. My God, is this fucking serious? What the fuck is this? I have mods, so some of this stuff is behaving differently. Anyway. So I imagine the series will just never finish. Was what I was getting at. Like he I mean he's obviously super unhealthy. There's been 10 chapters in 2 years. So like not much hope there. So it's kind of a downer for the people who are fans. I mean, as a fan base, it's still pretty active from what I've seen. But I mean, if he can't write any more stories or draw or whatever the situation is, then it doesn't really matter too much. God damn it. I have the difficulty turned up, so this is like much harder than this game normally is. It's actually a little bit distracting fucking thing. But yeah, so I like to read stuff, but I have a really hard time reading stuff if you know it's never going to end. And then the fact that they switched the main character, and it just doesn't seem like there's really much point in continuing. I mean, it looks like the anime is going to wrap up decently, but it does kind of suck that Kurapika's storyline got cut off the way that it did, and he just disappears. I mean, with the Chimera Ant arc being so long, you like you don't see Hisoka or Kurapika or Leorio for half the show. I mean, the Ant arc is 60 episodes, and the show's 148, which is kind of a downer because I've talked about it in all my videos that like the group dynamic between the four of them is one of my favorite parts of the show. But it's also kind of hard to think about how much would the Ant arc had to have changed for them to be around also. But yeah, I don't really have too much else I'm going to get into on the stream, at least for Hunter x Hunter. I'll I'll make my videos hopefully before I go to MegaCon next week. So next week there definitely won't be a stream because I'll be in Orlando, actually with Istad and Mrs. Casual. So we'll be hanging out at MegaCon. I don't know, maybe I'll buy some more art. I bought a bunch of Mass Effect pictures and shit last year. Got a Violet Evergarden one, some Attack on Titan ones, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer. I mean, they had everything, obviously, if you've been to those big conventions. So, it should be a good time. I haven't looked at the final list for celebrities because I try to wait until like the week of, because they're super fluid. They change a lot. But if you guys are ever near those conventions or near a major city that has one, they're definitely worth going. Usually the full 4-day pass or 3-day pass or whatever is like $100 ish, maybe more like 130 or 140. But I've had fun at every one that I've been to. Didn't have time to make costumes this year though, which kind of sucks. Yeah, thanks, Jay. I will. I'm trying to think of what costumes I did for I used to live in Denver, which was super nice because I could just go to the convention from home. It was like a 15-20 minute drive, and I didn't have to worry about a hotel and all the other expenses that come with it, food and all that shit. One year when we went, we did Pokemon. So my wife and I were Jesse and James, and our other two people were Ash and Misty. Super simple, but that was fun. We did Star Wars, where I was Darth Bane, and my wife was Darth Xana. And we got these really cool ass Sith contacts, which was pretty sweet. I can't remember how much they cost now. That was like 10 years ago. But it was a pretty fun time. And the other people were Kylo Ren and Padme. We did one year when it was just my wife and I, and we found out last minute we did Scooby and Shaggy because that was super easy. Yeah, Jay says Denver Comic Con in the early days was fun. Yeah. You know what's funny is the last year that I lived there, we didn't even go because the second to last year they restricted where you could drink beer at, and they made a bunch of changes that I just didn't like, and the whole thing just felt very sterile, I guess, which you might think sterility is a good thing with all those disgusting fucks at those conventions, but it just felt really like, I don't know, detached, I guess. Not very corporate, not super like it was pretty chill before that. And then it felt like it just picked up a little bit more of a like the general audience and became corporate and just kind of soulless. So the last year that I lived there, we didn't even go. Because I was like, fuck that. Yeah. Yeah, Jay agrees. He said it got stupid and corporate and crowded. Yeah. And it just made like they really cracked down on weapons because of all the, fear mongering about mass shootings. So people, you couldn't have anything with you almost, which obviously impacted people's costumes as well. Which I wasn't that hardcore about the costumes, but I did make my own because I thought it was fun. I learned how to sew and stuff. And Tally, shut up. And yeah. So last year I drove down to MegaCon for just one day because I didn't find out about it till last minute. And I live about 5 hours from Orlando, maybe 5.5. So I was exhausted by the end. It was a good time, but this year we're actually getting getting a room and all that shit. So it's not just like a day trip. That's really hard. Because, driving 5 hours to get there, I had to get up at 5 in the morning to get there by lunchtime. And then, god damn it. And then and then by dinner time, I still have to do a 5-hour drive back. So you're just done, And then I don't think, when I was in Florida, I couldn't go to the Miami one because of stupid COVID. So it was shut down the years that we were there, which sucked, obviously. And then, let's see. Oh, I was talking about costumes. Oh, yeah, we did Nightmare Before Christmas for one of the costumes. My wife and I were Jack and Sally. And I made an Oogie Boogie and Zero for the other two people. Also fun. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies. Oh yeah, we did Archer one time. I was Archer. My friends were Krieger and Cyril. I can't remember who else we dressed up as on that trip. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun time. Those conventions are fun. There's a lot of neat shit there. Even if you're not into, comics, mostly it's pop culture. I mean, they call it Comic-Con, obviously, but I think Denver might have actually changed their name to Pop Culture Con. Partially because San Diego decided to be a bunch of cunts and copyright the name Comic-Con. Some name that's like, it is Comic-Con, but can't be called that. But, oh, Jesus Christ. Looks like I completely lost my connection. Well, fucking whatever. I'm going to wrap up here anyway. The internet's pissing me off. And I've got other stuff to do. And right now it's just kind of a dead time for media, so there's not a ton to talk about. So I'm going to leave it here for this one. Hopefully the upload, hopefully when this is done and you rewatch it, it won't be failing the way that it looks like it is now. But all right. Have a good weekend, guys. Am I gonna review Nosferatu? No. My wife actually wanted to go see it, and I just had no interest. Just not my thing. What's up, Mr. Divine? Yeah, so I went to Comic-Con dressed as Jack Skellington. Actually, I proposed to my wife before we left, so we ended up all just staying at the house and getting drunk. But I did go to the convention dressed as the other ones that I mentioned, though. This one I didn't have enough time to make costumes, just with my new job and, you know, trying to make sure I'm doing videos and shit still. But I guess if on the off chance anyone's down there at MegaCon, hit me up. Message me on Discord, let me know. All right.